terrible person who just joined TikTok, and I need to warn you about her. Especially if you've ever ordered anything online.
In just 30 days, I completely destroyed my multi-million-dollar business, had an affair that almost cost me my marriage, and ended up in a mental hospital on suicide watch.
This woman's name is Nicole State, or at least that's what she goes by online. And she's new to TikTok, but she is not new to scamming people. Man, is the scam already starting to work, because she just joined this platform less than a week ago and she already has over 7,000 followers. But this is what you need to know. She starts her videos by talking about how she ruined her multi-million-dollar business in the span of 30 days. However, we all know that is a lie, because if you've been following her, she has been doing this close to a decade. However, it took over 2 years for the Whatnot app to finally kick her off from scamming people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. She then glosses over the fact that she was caught having an affair and nearly lost her marriage to her husband Joe. While not discussing anything, every video she's made about the person she had an affair with, she quickly deletes, because it shows a side of like who she truly is as far as a manipulator and like narcissistic personality. She'll quickly go into how she ended up in the hospital for wanting to unalive herself, but that she's better now and that this is her laying the foundation to start fresh and be a good person. Keep in mind, her getting kicked off of the Whatnot app just happened this past week, and before she got kicked off of she was already supposedly in this hospital, in this mental ward, because her husband was telling people that the reason she's not there is because she was in this facility, not telling us what, but saying that she was simply in the hospital. Now no one is believing that she was ever really in the hospital, because all of the proof she turned in was very clearly photoshopped. And the facility she discussed being in was actually the facility her son had been in and had talked about and monetized people feeling bad for her son being in this facility, and is now seeming to just recycle all of that information to make it look like she was actually in it. Because the timeline from the time she gets kicked off of the Whatnot app, from her selling thousands of orders and then not shipping any of the stuff out, or selling stuff as if she had it in hand and was simply drop shipping it from overseas, doesn't line up, because we now know that it was her getting caught in the affair with another man that she supposedly ended up in this possibly not even real mental facility. Why? Because she's manipulating everyone, including her own family, and we're talking about you, Joe, her husband. Before anyone starts to feel bad for Nicole, you need to realize that she's not actually holding herself accountable for any of the things she's done. Yes, she's telling us stuff that like most of us would never want to share to anyone, but she's blaming BPD as a reason everything happened, stuff that has been going on not just for 30 days. This stuff has been going on for years, as far back as 2013, and we also need to recognize that this is not her real name. So she has potentially been doing this even longer, just using a different name. Her level of manipulation in her growing amount of videos that she is posting now just gets deeper and deeper, because she posts pictures of her crying, pictures of her being on the Whatnot app before she was banned, and talking about how everything was just like this manic episode because of her BPD. Again, blaming it on mental health issues and taking zero accountability. And a lot of her original videos were her saying, we didn't recognize that we were drowning in this. We like blaming her employees for her not being able to ship out the stuff that people were paying her for. Also admitting to mail fraud. And thankfully that video is still online. So if you want to listen to how Nicole State spins what is most definitely committing postal fraud, to then saying, oh, I'm not doing it because I knew I would end up having to pay. No. You're committing fraud, knowing you're committing fraud. So just admitting that you're doing it and then saying, but it's not fraud because I'm sitting here admitting to you that I did it, so it's not actually illegal, makes zero sense. This is still on Reddit, and you can go back, I think up to 4 or 5 years of people talking about how she's doing the exact same con. What her victims have shared, this is the 3rd platform at least that she has been kicked off of, including eBay, running the exact same scam. So what does she do when she gets kicked off because she says this is like her income and she has employees that she pays? She gets on Poshmark, it looks like, every single time to then like try to make maybe more of like an honest living until she can find a new audience. And that is why she is here on TikTok. You need to also know this is not her real name. I mentioned it earlier. Let's talk about her real name. Her real name is Nicole Delaney. That is her maiden name. Her husband's name is Joseph Daniel Sarazin, Sarrazin, So if she took on her husband's name, she is now Nicole Sarrazin. This also needs to be null because people like this, especially narcissistic people who never hold themselves accountable for being terrible, conning people out of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, if not more than that, they are going to just change their name, change what they go by, and continue doing the same con. And that is what she is now doing on TikTok. Just reporting this page isn't going to be enough because she's also on Instagram, also on YouTube. So if you look up, I think on Instagram, she's Nicole State, look that up. And if you want to report her on TikTok, go to Nicole_State and click on that arrow I have circled in red. From there, this little screen down here will pop up and you want to click on report. Then click on report account and click frauds and scams. And then you just click the submit button below and then you've done it. People are now blocking her as well because they just don't want to see her content because they know she's just doing this to find a new audience. Now on TikTok, trying to be this person who's just trying to turn her life around. She's been doing this for over a decade that we know of. This is literally her just trying to take advantage of you and anyone else that you know who shops online and is on TikTok. This is her way of finding a different pool of victims. So you can block her if you want. I honestly say don't block her. Don't make her life easier for her because she now is blocking everyone who speaks out against her, just like she did on the Whatnot app. When her victims did not receive their packages, or she lied to them about being something that she was selling in person when really it was something that was going to be sent from someone overseas, which was part of one of her scams in all of this, she would just block them to where they could no longer hold her accountable, no longer ask why they still hadn't gotten their products that they paid for weeks prior. If she's going to block me, she's going to have to do it herself. I know she's going to see this video because I am going to be putting her in the description of this video because this is how we hold these people accountable. So if you don't want you or your friends to be scammed by her, share this video out and let's warn this entire TikTok community of who Nicole State really is.